there, Mochiardi back with a product review this time. Acrylic markers have been living in my head rent-free for the last few months. And I've always wanted to dabble in some juicy markers. Unfortunately, I'm on what do they call it? An unemployment bougie. I can't be affording the creme de la creme of acrylic markers. I looked on Amazon and I looked for a more affordable option for people with limited funds. Here I am, scouring through Bezel's verse, aka Amazon, and I stumbled upon these bad boys. IMURZ? I don't know. IMURZ. Acrylic markers. $10, 48 colors, fast drying. Review says 4.3 out of 5 stars. Alright, let's do this. So these markers came in. And it doesn't have the IMURZ logo on the carrying case, as the picture on Amazon indicated. My first thought was, I've been bamboozled. Absolutely bamboozled. They sent me the wrong product. This is bad. No. These are it. Pictures can confirm that these are it. So I started unboxing and looked at the instructions because I can't be trusted with products I've never worked with. So I wanted to make sure I was doing all the right things to ensure a quality review and also a quality experience. Proceed with the shaking. We have decided to go with another candidate. Due to budget, we've decided to eliminate the position. Ghosting. ATS. Workday. Okay, now that's done. Comes the swatching. Wait a minute. I realized very quickly that there are no labels on these markers. What? So I decided to masking tape all the tops and swatch these markers directly on the masking tape, because what's the point of swatching something with these so-called marker IDs but no markers themselves have any IDs? I have many questions. IMURZ. So here I am swatching. Swatch. I love swatching. Okay, now that I'm done with swatching, I decided to work on the sketch that I wanted to color over with acrylic markers. At this point, I was incredibly intimidated. I have never been the best with acrylic paints. So these markers brought back all the PTSD of all the acrylic paint projects that I've attempted to do in the past. But how can one improve without trial and error? So I went at it. At first, I was very impressed with the colors of the caps on these markers. Some caps were really spot on to the actual colors of the paint. The paint came out juicy, and honestly, I was pleasantly surprised. I was expecting the worst. I only came to realize an issue once I started to cover large surface areas, like the skin and the hair. Luckily, I was able to move through the hair with relative ease, even though there were some areas that were a little splotchy. And I left the areas where I wanted the highlights uncolored and just outlined the hair to bring it forward a bit more. I was going for kind of a pop art vibe, so nothing too blended. Just some solid colors and a really strong outline. It was going well. Maybe too well? At this point, I haven't started on the skin, so I was actually impressed with the performance compared to the price I paid. Honestly, I wouldn't have imagined these markers performing this particularly well. That is until I reached the skin. Oh boy, coloring the skin, let me tell you. The acrylic marker for the skin color I chose was probably faulty. This thing gave me the most infuriating time. The paint was getting stuck in the barrel, and when it did come out, it would pool in the cap of the marker, so I had to dump it out onto the skin and attempt to move it around with the marker. Needless to say, I got to the point where I just gave up. I gave up on the marker. I grabbed my own acrylic paint that matched as closely to the skin tone as possible, and I took my brush and painted it on because, lordy lord, I was about to toss this whole project in the trash. That marker had me contemplating my life and my life choices. I digress. Besides the fiasco that was the skin, the markers were honestly not too shabby. You paid $10 for 48 markers. That's about 21 cents a marker. You can't beat that. The colors are vibrant. The coverage was decent if you don't have a faulty marker. And it was actually quite pleasant. I would definitely not recommend covering large surface areas with these markers though, because the nib is way too small for large spaces. But for small projects like journals or tiny art pieces, I think that'll be fine. The swatching, forget about it. There's no reason to follow even the swatch card. You probably should just put masking tape on the caps just like I did and swatch it yourself. Then you're good to go. If that's something you don't mind doing, I really don't think it's a deal breaker, especially if you're on a budget. Luckily, a good amount of the colors did look similarly enough to the caps. Luckily, a good amount of colors looked similar enough to the caps, and the markers also have a clear body so you can see the colors you're going to use. I'd suggest swatching anyway because it dries a little bit different, and I'd say make a few swatch sheets on the side with the papers you're going to use. So if you want to use the mixed media paper, just have a little swatch sheet on the side just so you can see how the colors dry. Overall, I don't think it's a bad product. At 21 cents a marker, you really can't beat it. The quality is not as horrible, and I think for starter markers, these are pretty decent. Anywho, if you guys like this review, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be forever grateful. I'll probably end up doing more of these budget art supplies videos because let's face it, art supplies are expensive and life is expensive, and I cry and broke 90% of the time. Okay, see you guys next time. Bye bye.